Well, today's episode is going to be a little interesting. We're going to be reviewing two of Stardom's much recent events. The first one is, of course, the Showcase Volume 4 at Kobe, where we had some interesting matches. Of course, the Kozen match. We have the six-person tag hardcore rules match, and of course, plenty others. And then, of course, we jump into the much recent event on the fourth, which is the Triangle Derby Finals. Who will walk out of the four teams that made it this far to the semifinals? Would it be Prominence, Cosmic Angels, 7 Up, or God's Eye? And of course, we have other matches such as titles. The high speed title is on the line. The white belt is also, and the red belt will be also on the line. And also, special match. Himeka, as you know, is on the road of retirement. One of her opponents is none other than Sendai Girls, Chihiro Hashimoto, who was there. And we also got some other events we're going to be reviewing. We got the latest ChocoPro show, 299. We have the latest NWA USA and a very special AEW Dark episode, and a little bit of the news update for everyone. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, let's begin with Stardom Showcase Volume 4. This time they're in Kobe. We had some interesting matches that took place. Now, this first one is between Chanyota and Saya. Now, keep in mind, Chanyota has been a very fitness girl that we've seen so far, if you guys have been following her. So is Saya. So basically, as you know, Saya won this muscle contest in a showcase event. Chanyota tells her that she's very much a pro, and she's not kidding. So they had like 3 segments in order to make this one happen. The first one is an arm wrestle. Saya won the first arm, and then Chanyota, and then Saya, then Chanyota won this round as well. However, in a slam, I don't know exactly what it is, like a body slam um, segment, Saya won this one, and then later to finally the pose, Chanyota won this one. So, like I said, it's a little bit wacky, but yes. Now our next match is a anywhere falls count match. This is something that Azumi has normally done every time. This is the 4th time. This time she brought in Surumi Natsu, Hanan, and of course Momoka Nozono, who's someone who she has always enjoys working with. And it's kind of interesting, not to mention Surumi Natsu continues to harass Rossi despite the fact that they're old friends and all that sort of thing. But it was a real lot of fun. But they took it everywhere, anywhere in the back, the front, anything. But it was, of course, Azumi with the diving foot stomp onto Anna that picked up the win, while Momoka Nozono fired some of confetti right in the face of Tsurumi Natsu and fell into a trap down there. I don't know what happened. It felt like it was a Home Alone segment, but it was great. Now our next match is a Kozen match, Captain's Fall. Team number 1, we have Tam Nakano, who's the captain. Then Natsupoi and Saki, they take on Waka Tsukiyama, Mariah May, and Mina Shirakawa. So this is a very deep emotional match. A lot of people talked about this. What's going to happen if Waka loses? And I think that's always been the case for many people. How is this going to play out? We know that recently we have been witnessing Mina not interacting with Tam. We know that there's a possibility of issues that she may have towards her, but nonetheless, it was a pretty good match. Not to mention, Waka flew for the first time. So that was impressed. But however, it was Tam who applied a violent screwdriver onto her to pick up the win. But I think the promo was very emotional because Waka admitted to saying that she thought she was in it to win it for herself. But, and I have to agree with her on this level. There have been many fans who have bad mouthed about the Cosmic Angels over time, and it's true. I mean, she wanted to prove them wrong. And I think that's something that many people forget. I mean, look, if you don't like the Cosmic Angels, then don't say negative things on social media about them. They don't need that. So Waka's like saying that she's in it for that. But Tam also said, despite the fact that she could be leaving, she's gonna be teaming up with her on the 25th at the New Blood Premium in Yokohama. Uh, so she even told Nana Takahashi to get herself a partner. Now, our next match is a very interesting one. You may remember Super Strong Stardom Machine, and then later they introduced the Super Strong Stardom Giant Machine, and now they introduce another one. This one is the Super Strong Stardom Big Machine. They team up together, and their opponents are the Grim Reapers. I thought this match was really fun. I think it was a very interesting thing. I don't know what was the significance of the machines trying to do, but they tried to put up a fight, but the Grim Reapers were just a bit too much. I don't know which Grim Reaper was it, but one of them applied a Vader bomb onto um, Big Machine, and that was no on Big Machine, yeah, on Big Machine picking up the win. Then our next match we have the Hardcore 6-person tag match. This one features prominent um, Kurumi Higare, Suzuki, and of course Rita Sarah versus DDM's Maika, Himeka, and Julia. Himeka was the one who requested this match. Now, I don't think they know the rules of hardcore. They brought in pebbles that kind of caused a problem for them to be in a no contest. But of course, they just think that, oh, that's what hardcore is all about. Now, there's certain rules that you're not supposed to play when it comes to hardcore rules. But they even had Tekla and Maika, Mai Sakurai, to help, thinking that that's going to help them win. But no, the match ended in a no contest. But of course, Himeka said that she's glad that she's not going to see them again. So, too bad. Next up, we have a UWF rules match between Saki Kashima and Sudi. Now, keep in mind, twice in last year, Saki Kashima did not want to deal with uh, Sudi due to the fact that she was the red belt champion. And now that she lost it, she thinks that, oh, now she can take her. I don't know if that was a big mistake, but apparently, but she was very impressive. I know that it was like impressed that she pulled off some certain submission moves, but it wasn't enough until she got whacked Kato with the White Tiger kick right in her face, and boom, just like that, it was over. Our next match is a three-way 9-person tag match. Team number one, we have Oedo Tai, consistent of Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, and Natsuko Tora taking on Queen's Quest, um, Miyu Amasaki, Utami Ayashida, and Sayaka Mitani taking on the members of Stars, consistent of Koguma, Azuki, and Mayu Utani. The winner gets a piece of meat straight from the city of Kobe. Uh, it was a pretty good match, but I wasn't too much sold on it, even though it was a little bit interesting of the stipulation. But it was, of course, a pinfall made by Koguma onto Amasaki that allowed them to pick up the win for everyone. So it was a pretty good one. I think it was really good, but like I said, I wasn't too much sold on due to the fact that the prize is a piece of meat. So I think that's pretty much it for this Stardom show. Let's move on to the next one, and that is the Triangle Derby Finals. Okay, our next show of Stardom. This one is the Triangle Derby Finals. As you know, we have already 4 competitors that made it all the way to the semifinals. So out of one of the four, will ended up in the last. It will be our main event. Our teams are in fact Prominence, Cosmic Angels, God's Eye, and 7 Up. Now, our opening match features Waka teaming up once again with Club Venus, Mariah May, and Mina Shirakawa to take on DDM, which of course Mina and Waka have faced many times, consistent of Mai Sakurai, Tekla, and Maika. There was a lot of good fighting spirit in this particular match. Many fans, as we know from last year, we could all say Mai Sakurai should be the one person that Waka should be getting her first win. I feel like it should be because it gives like a much sense of justice in some ways. I'm sure some of you may agree with that, but however, I was once again Mai Sakurai showed why she's far more superior. How she has learned not better than her, and she tried that one new move, that guillotine flip, like kind of like what Booker T did back in the day. But there were some fans that commented on that there were concerns over Waka's face. Hopefully she was okay, but nonetheless she was fine. But of course, in the post-match comments, Waka knows what's at stake. Even Sakurai is pulling for her through to get her first win. So that's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Now, our next match we have a bit of a 5-on-5. Team number one, Oedo Tai, consistent of Fukigen Death, Ruka, Momo Watanabe, uh, who's the other one? Saki Kashima, and of course, Natsuko Tora taking on the members of Stars, consistent of Momo Kogo, Hanan, Saya Ida, Koguma, and Mayu Otani. As you know, Stars and Oedo Tai have always been going back and forth with their feud, but there's no storyline is. But the real question is, who will survive this one? There was, of course, Koguma with her bear pose did not work this time. She was getting herself beaten up by everybody in Oedo Tai, but it was Fukigen Death with her surprising or corner roll onto Momokogo to pick up the win. Now, our semifinals of the Triangle Derby. Our first match features the Cosmic Angels, consistent of Tam, Natsupoi, and Saki, taking on God's Eye, consistent of Amisori, Mirai, and Suri. Now, keep in mind, Tam and Suri have gone back and forth before twice, but many fans I know for a fact were probably pulling through for the Cosmic Angels because they seem like the fan favorite. But however, in this case, Suri put Natsupo, her old teammate, into the submission move, forcing her to give up in front of the referee just like that, allowing them to advance into the finals. Our second semifinal match features prominent Kurimi Higare, who else? Oh yeah, Suzuki and Risa Serra taking on 7 Up, Yuna Mizumori, Yu and Nana Takahashi. I have to say it was the most brutal match I've ever seen, especially when it comes to the Neo Stardom Army trying to prove how dominant it can be. But of course, Prominence are a tougher team that can withstand any pain in their wake. But it was of course Zuzu with the tequila shot onto Yuna Mizumori that allowed her to pick up the win. But, however, there was a change of plans for the finals. As you know, it was later revealed that Prominence and God's Eye will meet in the finals, but they decided, let's raise the stakes. So they decided, let's put the artist belts on the line in the main event. I know what some of you are thinking. Was there ever an event where the artist belts were used as main event? Someone didn't commented about that, but I just don't remember what was the year that happened. But it has happened before. So wouldn't be surprised about that. Now our next match is a special match, part of the Himeka Road to Retirement. We have Himeka challenging Chihiro Hashimoto from Sendai Girls. As you know, she was the one who requested this match. This is Himeka's way of trying to right a wrong. As you know, she have lost to her before, but the real question is, as much as she has grown and developed since then, will it be enough to put her away? I mean, Hashimoto is no slouch. She can put you in a submission. She can power slam you however she wants. But it took like an ankle lock for Hashimoto to put away Himeka, giving her the win. But however, During the post-match comments, the interview in the ring, a promo, she called out Sudi, and they made the decision that they're going to face each other in April at the Yokohama, which is going to be good. We know that Sudi has issued this challenge before, so we'll see what happens then. Now, next match, this one's a very crucial one. This is the Wonder of Stardom Championship between challenger Azuki and champion Saya Kamitani. Now, I know a lot of fans have talked about this, that they're hoping that this is the day where Azuki finally gets her single titles run. We know she can do it. Um, it was a pretty good match, not to mention, um, we know she already reached 14 victories in this particular for Kamitani, but could she make it to a 15? Well, that's the obvious thing. I mean, it took four Star Crushers by Kamitani to put away Azuki, and that's how it allowed her to win. But however, she put out a post-match promo, and then she called out Mina Shirakawa. It appears that now she's issuing the challenge. And I know some of you are thinking that it's a load of crap, that Azuki should have been the white belt champion. True, but Mina has deserved it more because she had worked real hard to get there, and that's always been the case because people overlook that Mina had worked a lot harder. But looks like the plans are in play, that the possibility that Mina could win the white belt at Yokohama in April. So, but she did tell her to dare her to try the Phoenix Splash, the same move that put her out of action for a month, for almost since November. So we'll see what happens then. But Kamitani doesn't seem like she wants any of that. Our next match is the High Speed Championship. Starlight Kid and Azumi, who've been eternal foes for a long time. These two knew each other from the time when they were young, even when they applied at the dojo. If you guys remember their history, Starlight Kid was more popular than Azumi, but Azumi catched up to her, and they were two of the best speedsters in Stardom. So that always tells us a good story between them. But it took only Azumi, a numero uno, to put away Starlight Kid to retain her title. So I thought it was a pretty awesome match. Now our next match is for the red belt, the Wonder of Stardom belt, a championship. This was not a match. This was a brutal beatdown between Julia and Mayuhiki. Now, their history dates back all the way to Ice Ribbon. Uh, Julia has always believed that, Yuhiki has always badmouthed her, said some negative things to her, talking crap behind her back, and she did not like the fact that Yuhiki came by to Stardom. Now, Yuhiki's original plan was for Rebel X Enemy, but Julia was paranoid, believing that she's there for her belt. That wasn't true, but she nominated her. But this match wasn't much of a match at all. It was all about trying to kill each other in some capacity. But it took only a double countout for both of them to win. But Yuhiki checked herself out, like she doesn't want to be there because she doesn't need to hear the crap from Julia. And Julia acts like she thinks she run the place. Now, when we thought things were done, here comes Tam Nakano, and it was reported by Dave Meltzer that this was going to happen. That plans were in motion, that Tam will be the next challenger for the red belt. Now, I know some fans out there are saying this shouldn't have been the proper way, because we know that Julia and Tam have been rivals for a long time, since the white belt, when they both won the white belts in different occasions. But my thought was going to be like, hopefully she wins the 5-star Grand Prix and challenge the belt later on. I think that's always been what I thought, but you know, Tam has been spiraling all out of control for a while, knowing that things are going chaotic for her with Waka, Mina, and everything else. So basically, it's more like she had to make the challenge. So it's going to happen also in Yokohama in April. So we'll see what happens then. Now, our main event is the Triangle Derby Finals. Also, the Artists of Stardom Championships are on the line. We have uh, God's Eye, Mirai, Amis, and Sudi taking on Prominence, Kurumi Higare, Suzuki, and Risa Sera. Awesome match. I think it was a lot of good moments, but I figured that there was some capacity that this match was going to end with Mirai and Zuzu. These two had went back and forth before because Zuzu kind of criticized um, Mirai for ever since leaving DDM last year. That's always been the case right there. If you guys remember, Mirai was a member of DDM when Prominence first arrived, but now that she's no longer with DDM, she's now with God's Eye. So that kind of sets it in. But it took only a German suplex for Zuzu to put away Mirai to retain the titles. So they won not only the first ever Triangle Derby, but they retained their titles. So what's next for them? The possibility is their next opponents will be none other than Queen's Quest, consisting of Kamitani, Hayashida, and Azumi. So that's always been what we probably will be seeing. Hopefully, we'll see what happens in the upcoming weeks for that. But let's move on to the next review, and I believe it's ChocoPro. Okay, ChocoPro 299. Can you believe we're almost getting to 300? Now that particular show will take place next week. The 300 is a 2-day event. Also, the championships will be posted on the line. However, we're going to have a bit of previews leading up to that. Now, our first match features Yuko Sakurai from Colors teaming up with Blueheart Sayaka Obihiro to take on Black Komanagi, Antonio Honda, and Tokiko Kihara. Now, you know how Antonio Honda is when it comes to throwing a bit of the comedy routine into his matches and whatnot. But in this case, it was, of course, a pinfall made by Antonio Honda onto Obihiro to give them the win. So basically, they're on a roll. I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to also to make a play for the Asian Dream Tag Team titles. Now, our next match, we have Miya Yotsuba taking on the leader of Colors, Saki. This was a very interesting matchup because Saki, who's been a veteran in the pro wrestling game, knows what she's doing. She knows exactly what she needs to do, especially if she has to face someone like Mia, who is just a newbie. But it took only a submission from her to put away Mia to have her to tap out or just say, I give up. That's very simple. Now, our next match is a preview for the 300 episode that takes place the following week. We have Shin Suzuki. I don't know why he's in it. He teams up with Sayaka, who is one half of the tag team that will be facing CDK for the tag titles. And of course, Hagen Ishino, who will be challenging Balian for the Super Asia title. But there is a little dilemma. Hakene has defeated Balinaki countless times in singles action. So this will be a very interesting thing. It was a pretty good match, not to mention I didn't think that CDK and Balian would get along, but they knew what was at stake. They know they have to keep the momentum in their favor all the way to 300 next week. But it was, of course, who was it? But Chris Brooks to put Sayaka in a submission hold and force her to tap out just like that. Now, for a jogging tournament, I wasn't too sure. Now, some of you may ask, where is Mei Shiruga? Well, she ended up going to Michinoku Pro Wrestling for a show, but she'll be back the following week just in case. But the person who won Jonkin is none other than CDK's Chris Brooks. So yeah, so he won the chocolate. So I think that's pretty much it with ChocoPro. I believe it's time for NWA USA. Okay, NWA USA. Now this next tag match, this falls into the story if you guys remember clearly. About a week or 2 weeks ago, the Fixers stole the NWA the United States Tag Team titles. Now remember, they were the inaugural champions. Now losing those titles to the country gentlemen put them where they decided to steal the old belts, proclaiming themselves still as the NWA United States Tag Team titles. But Bobby Fulton, who's been a tag champion in that category, stated that they're not, that they're an embarrassment to the U.S. to the US of A and all this, but he said he was going to bring two guys to deal with them, and he did. He brought in Chris Adonis and Red Titus. I thought they did a pretty good job putting them together, but it took only a master lock to put away Ligursky. It makes you think, man, could they pull it off? They actually did. Now, the idea for them, if they lose, they have to hand over the belts and put them in the museum. They decided to run away with them and keep them. So basically, they're not going to give those belts up no matter what anybody says. They are still claiming they are the true United States Tag Team Champions. Now, we do get a qualifying match in the NWA World Women's Television title. We have Natalia Markova taking on Max Impaler. Now, if you guys remember, these two have come across each other before. This was a very brutal match. Now, Natalia Markova, I would have thought she would have got her revenge against Max Impaler for the last time, but no. This match ended where Natalia Markova only saw red. Basically, she would not break away the count from the ref, so she completely lost control, and she ended up being in a she was in a disqualification, leaving Max to win. But however, she continues to assault Max until Max put her on the flat on the ground, and then CJ shows up out of nowhere. I don't know what's the deal, but if you guys remember, her man McGuire actually got into the face of Magic St. Dumas, so we don't know what else is going to happen, but we'll go from there. Now we did see in Power Mike Knox. He basically choke slammed Cardona through a table, but the real reasons why he did it. Cardona promised that they say they're going to save the NWA and it's going to be under their control once they regain the NWA World Heavyweight title, but no, it did not happen that way. So basically, Mike Knox is losing his patience. So that's what's happening. Now, our next match is a number one contenders for the NWA United States Tag Team titles. We have Brian. Hold on, who is it? The Savage Bullets, the Savages, consisted of Bullet Point Troop, and of course, Alex JX Dane, along with that Weasel Silvio, to take on, who is it? They took out the Ill Begun, Alex Taylor, and Jeremiah Plunkett. I thought this match was pretty good because it showed how much the Savages are now determined to become the number one contenders, which they did when they put one of them in a submission, and it was over right from there. So pretty good show. Not gonna lie, but I enjoyed it. Right now, let's move on to, I believe, our last review, AEW Dark, the special Dark episode. Hey, AEW Dark, a very special episode. Only 4 matches were announced. As you know, we're heading to Revolution. Opening match, we have the Workhorsemen, JD Drake and Anthony Henry, taking on the former AEW Tag Team Champions, The Acclaim. I thought this match was a great opener. As you know, The Acclaim are heading with momentum in order to reclaim what they lost, which is the AEW World Tag Team titles from the As Boys, but they have to get through the toughest team ever, the Workhorsemen. It took a while for them to pick up until they applied the scissor me timber, and it was over right from there. Then, of course, it did not end right there. Daddy Ass decided, you know what? I'm going to give these fools a famous sir, and it worked just like that. Now, our next match, we have Aaron Solo, who is a native in the San Francisco, taking on Daniel Garcia. You know that this match was definitely go with Garcia due to the fact that Sammy is ringside watching this, having his back. It took only a while for Garcia to put away Solo to give him the win. But, once again, we're seeing that unorthodox teaming between Guevara and Sammy take place. Our next match, we have Peter Avalon taking Hook. You probably can say that the El Diablo Guapo himself, Hook, was going to walk out as soon as he put him in the red room. So that kind of plays out pretty well into him. So we'll see when he gets to Stokey Hathaway. Our next match, we have a very interesting one. We have Lee Moriarty teaming up with Isaiah Cassidy and Matt Hardy to take on Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers. Great match. I think it was a pretty good closing into this. I just enjoyed seeing the Briscoes and the Lucha Brothers get along. I think they're great with him, and I think it would have been a lot more easier if he would have joined sooner. But nonetheless, if he's in it, it took only the Froggy Bow for him to put away Isaiah Cassidy and picking up the win, just like that. So, hope everybody enjoys that. So let's move on with some news updates. So we have, of course, for our news updates, a very interesting one coming from Fightful Select. MJF, on the other hand, as you know, he told someone from a WWE talent that he'll be coming to WWE within the year. This is something we don't know if it's for real or is this for like a shoot, something we've been seeing when it comes to it, but we don't know. But it does appear that WWE do have an interest in MJF once he makes the decision to jump to WWE. Now, for you all Hikaru Shida fans out there, it was announced that she'll be making her appearance at Oz Academy, where she teams up with Kakeru Sekiguchi and Akino to take on the members of Ozaki-gun, Mayumi Ozaki, Maya Yuhiki, and Sadori Inoue. So get ready for that until then. It's been confirmed by the Wrestling Observer that Kofi Kingston it will be out due to an injury. It's still unknown about the severity of the injury just yet, but let's just pray for a speedy recovery for him. As you know, the Pro Wrestling Zero happened. We had a surprise video from someone who we haven't seen for quite some time. We're talking about Shinjiro Otani. He made his announcement that he will be making his first appearance on the 26th of March in Yasuka, I think that's called. But I can't wait to see what's going to happen. MLW has announced that Mandy Leon will be making her appearance. I think this is great to see her there. So we'll see about that. And I think we're just going to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. Coming up, we have more. We got GCW and Wrestling Revolver. And of course, day one of the New Japan Pro Wrestling New Japan Cup. It's only the first part of the elimination. We'll see how it progresses from there. There will be no ChocoPro since I mentioned this before. There will be, of course, the ChocoPro 300 taking place next week. So stand by for that. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.